So what should you do during this Ukrainian War of Independence, as well as facing increasing Chinese threat as a private individual? Well, investment. You have money, you don't have much power, but you have money. So invest the same way that the war bond was sold during World War II to the American. So what do you invest in? The idea is to fight the good fight, is to invest in good cause. And also, what's good is profitable. Morality is good business in the end. So, for example, what are the Ukrainian and Russian exports? Because those two countries are being most affected in the war, and their exports are being, destroyed or banned. Nickel, N-I-C-K-L-E, right? Nickel, the metal. Just Google nickel companies. Nickel, every household in the US or anywhere has nickel in its component. And also, like I said, Russia will have to use chemical weapons against Ukraine. Therefore, you should invest in companies such as Lakeland Industries, stock ticker number LAKE. It's a company that produces personal protection equipment, especially anti-chemical warfare suits. And also companies such as Alpha Pro Tech, stock ticker number APT. It was a mask producer based in Canada. It was pretty hot back in March 2020 against the Chinese coronavirus, but right now it will become hot again due to it produces light chemical suits. It's not as specialized as Lakeland Industries in terms of anti-chemical warfare, but Alpha Protect nonetheless produces some light chemical suits and also some masks, not to the extent of anti-chemical warfare mask, but it's disposable mask, but it's transferable abilities. When the production demand is in place, it would be easy for Alpha Protect to produce war-related equipment, the same way that Ford transferred to produce tanks during World War II. So personal protection equipment. What else? Actually, this war is strengthening the status of US dollar. The globalists and also so-called idealists talked about, oh, this is the world of globalization, this is a world of ideas across borders. No, this is a world of decrease of globalization. If you take a look at human history, late 20th century and early 21st century is by no means the first era of globalization. We see the same globalization ever since the discovery of the new continent in 15th century. The British Empire, the Spanish Empire actually, and the Portuguese Empire, the Dutch Empire back in 17th century, they achieved the first wave of globalization. And then the British Empire in 19th century. But there were several phases that backtrack that globalization, deglobalization. When we see the 7 Years' War back in 18th century, globalization was severely impacted negatively. Also, the World War I has tremendously decoupled international connections. The World War II also. Right now, since Trump came to office, he was a response to the change of time, but globalization is in its period of backtracking. So it came down to geopolitics. It came down to what country you are in, what country you are for, and the location of cryptocurrency. So where your cryptocurrency is based is of paramount importance. If your cryptocurrency is based in the US, it enjoys some of the best freedom and morality, because if you look at legitimate crypto projects, if it's based in the US, based on the best business practice, business ethics, the tradition of English Protestantism in carry out what it says, then these cryptocurrencies based in the US are most reliable from an investment point of view. And why do I talk about this? Because Europe is fighting Russia. Chinese currency is worthless because there's no check and balance in China. The Chinese central bank is an extension of the Central Committee of the Communist Party. Chinese currency is a political token. It's not a currency, it's a political token. It inflates and print wherever it wants to. So it doesn't matter. So a Chinese currency is definitely, if you are idiot, you invest in China, just like Warren Buffett and Soros, who are utter losers. If you want to be a loser, you listen to them. So then what's left with? Well, US dollar. Actually, it's a good time for US dollar because euros being crushed. Rubles is useless and it's insignificant anyway. So it's a good time for US dollar, and it's a good time as cryptocurrencies is increasingly replacing fiat, and as cryptocurrency from a technological point of view is trumping stocks, because very simply you have to trade stocks during the market opening days, right? If it's up after market, you could technically, but it's very limited. The volumes are not there. It has a lot of problems, and the stocks are a very outdated technology. It relies on physical address. It relies on physical time of opening. Cryptocurrency, you trade 24/7. It's highly automated. Cryptocurrencies, from a simple technological point of view, is superior. So it's the way to go. And the US, the Federal Reserve, is studying to promulgate its own CBDC, central bank digital currency, to use cryptography to digitalize US dollar. And I think right now the Federal Reserve is studying a couple of cryptocurrencies as its technical foundation for the future US dollar CBDC. One of them is Algorand, ALGO, Algorand. Take a look at it. Right now, Algorand is traded at 70 cents, more than 70 cents a coin. It's cheap. So you want to invest in Algorand. I hold a huge bag of Algorand. I bought it back, it was $2 because I was desperate. It was wrong. Never invest out of never invest out of fear, out of desperation is good, but never invest because you cannot wait. A good deal always wait, and a fool will always rush into it. So I was a fool at one time. So don't be me. Don't be my previous self. So look at Algorand, and also, yeah, that's the coin that I want to emphasize. Solana is, it's overheated anyway. So, but Solana is also a subject being studied by the Federal Reserve. So as a technical foundation for the future CBDC of the US. So also take a look at Solana. And what else? Cardano right now it's traded slightly less than $1 a coin. You can buy Cardano. And by the way, I only recommend assets that I personally hold. Never listen to people who don't have stake in the game. right? If you have stake in the game, you are biased because you have stake in the game. If you don't have stake in the game, you are irrelevant. Right, you are more objective, but you are irrelevant. So be relevant and be biased. Don't be objective and irrelevant. And in the end, only God is objective. All humans are subjective. Okay, so cryptocurrencies. And what else? Uranium, the material for nuclear weapons. I have several Ukrainian investments. Stocks such as stock ticker number UUUU, so 4 times UUUU. That's a good uranium company in the US. Why? Why uranium? Because renewable technologies are only preferable based on certain location, based on certain geographic characteristics, such as on a hill, right? You have wind farm, wind turbine. You utilize the waves of ocean when you are on the sea with some current. So renewable, number one, humanity has yet to devise an effective way to store electricity. Renewables, unlike fossil fuel, you cannot store renewable technologies. And if you understand the industry of power, you understand the supply and demand of electricity have to be matched more or less perfectly. It's very hard to store electricity, but it's very easy to store fossil fuel, right? A tank of gas, a tank of crude oil, right? A tank of liquefied natural gas. It's easy to store. So right now, since Western Europe has discovered the fundamental immorality to rely on Russian natural gas, they are moving towards energy independence. And renewables are not going to do that at all. The efficiency in terms of the economics of renewable are low, are not there. And it's hard to store renewable. So one way to solve it will be, one prominent way to solve it will be uranium, nuclear power plants. Like 60% of, maybe 75%, maybe 66%. And in any way, the majority of electricity provided in France is from uranium. And Germany, Netherlands, Britain will increasingly find its need to produce nuclear power plants. And now that's actually of less importance. More important is countries need to nuke up. You need to produce more nuclear warheads against the war to come. Russia invasion of Ukraine is only a small taste of the Third World War. China is going to do it. China is the bigger enemy. So the free world need to nuke up, and they will have to. So the massive production of nuclear weapons is on the horizon. So invest in the nuclear uranium industry, and also petrochemical. So oil and gas company, we already know this. It's back in February 24th and before, oil and gas prices have been increasing rapidly. So oil and gas companies are, goes without saying. And maybe it's already on the top. Maybe it's already overbought. I bought a couple of oil and gas trusts. So you don't want to buy the big stocks, the big companies. Number one, it's immoral. You don't want a big guy to be bigger. You want a small guy to be bigger to provide more competition. Number two, it's bad business. What's the likelihood of ExxonMobil's market cap to double tomorrow? Almost impossible. It's impossible. But what's the likelihood of a small, very small oil and gas company for its market cap to double? Far more likely, right? The smaller you are, the more easily you grow. because you have potential, you don't have bureaucracy, you have a new perspective, right? So I bought several oil and gas trusts, such as VOC Energy, stock ticker number VOC, and Northern European Oil Trust, stock ticker number NRT. But for both, I'm still losing money, although their price is recovering, because those immoral idiots, the big investment fund managers, they just flock in like hordes when some events happen. The moment the Russia invaded Ukraine in February 24th, all those fund managers with big money just flock into the oil and gas stocks, and I was not fast enough. If I reacted to the situation fast enough, well, I didn't think Putin would attack, so my bad. But besides oil and gas company, you want to take a look at the well, wheat. It will continue to go up, wheat, and petrochemical. So petrochemical, basically, it's like look at the car, right? Look at here. What is this? What is the car panel? What is this? These are crude oil. These are all oil, plastic, and many metal addictive. Almost everything you use today, the clothes, they have components of crude oil. Plastic is a derivative of crude oil. So, and how does that come to be? By the downstream oil and gas industry, such as oil and gas refinery and other petrochemical. So plastic is a petrochemical. So you want to, search what are the good, what are the petrochemical stocks, right? And yeah, take a look at that. And actually, I bought a petrochemical stock, ticker number WLK. Yeah, take a look at that. It's a good candidate. It's a solid company. And what else? There are definitely more, but 17 minutes already, and I don't want to talk anymore. So good luck.